Okay. Hello, folks. Turn that down a bit. So, I'm on the headset today. I'm not in the truck. Hopefully, sound quality is good. Hopefully, it's not too good. You hear all the lips smacking and whatnot going on. I hate when that happens, but I know sometimes that happens. So, in advance, forgive the lip smacking, please. All right, now that's out the way. Amusement. That's what this night or morning crossover is about. That's why we call it the crossover here. I talked about conflict. I'm going down the cash system. Tonight I'm just going to be talking about amusement because I wasn't able to, even though it was a 30-minute long video, I wasn't able to go into each specific topic because each one is so unique and deep itself. So, without further ado, let's get to it.
Put some respect on my name.
So, amusement. That is tonight's topic, and I don't have too many visuals because I just want to talk about amusement itself. Now, what is amusement? You can look up the Google definition of it. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and do that for you right now, just so I don't want to paraphrase. But amusement, a state or experience of finding something funny. Next, the provision of or enjoyment of entertainment. These are noun. These are the noun definitions. Something that causes laughter or provides entertainment. So there is a time to laugh and there is a time to work. That's it might be a phrase someone else uses, but that's something I say. There's a time to laugh and then there's a time to work. There's a time to get serious. Um, Amusement's one of those things where you're supposed to have your things in order, and then you're able to enjoy um, the things in life. Because when you don't do that, um, things tend not to work in your benefit, and it actually touches on somewhat of the thing where I talked about the unforced error of spreading yourself too thin. So when I was younger, matter of fact, let me go ahead and do this. I'm gonna do a story time. So when I was younger, um, 10, 15 years ago, I'm 29, and if you guys know anything, there were the specific crowds. If you're a black man, you understood this when you were in high school, sometimes middle school, but actually my elementary and middle schools were very diverse. I went to an all black, all majority black high school, but my elementary and middle schools were actually they were actually fairly decent schools, but they were mixed. They weren't majority black or none of that. Actually, I believe it was majority white. So it wasn't until I got to high school where that's where I really encountered this phenomenon, and you guys are all familiar with this phenomenon. It would not always be the crowd where they don't have nothing to lose, not the bad boys, not always. But there was this thing where you didn't necessarily have to be the pretty boy, but your shoes had to be Jordans. And I know this probably bing, this flicks off a lot of those things. It's like, wait a second, I thought today's topic was amusement. Well, this relates to that topic, and that's why I'm talking about it. That's why I said this goes a lot deeper than what you guys think. Um, so remember back in the days, it's probably even still today, how a lot of people it's a form of material therapy where they buy the things that they desire for, and this is where it relates to amusement. They buy the things they desire. They buy the things that would make them happy, or um, they might not necessarily be able to properly afford them because let's be real, if you're buying $200 worth of shoes, a pair of shoes, you should have a car and a house that you own. Like you should not be trying to put your money into a $200 pair of shoes for some kids. Once again, $200 pair of shoes for kids. That shows you the priorities of some individuals. It's crazy how I understood some. Of course, a lot of us were raised by single parents. How many single mothers would talk about how their kids look absolutely busted, no lunch money, no, not absolutely busted, dusty, but they go to City Trends or something like that, and actually worked at City Trends. They go to some place like that where they have the little Jordans sets for their kids, and then be like, "Oh yeah, at least my kid's gonna look nice." Now think about that. Everything else in around your kid's life is trash, but they put all their money in instead of putting their money into getting their kids some counseling or some tuition for learning or something like that, they'd rather spend their money on Jordan paraphernalia. And I'm talking about infants because back in City Trends they have the little Jordan infant sets. It has little footies and the Jordan clothing and whatnot. And I was amazed at how many people would buy that stuff. Now, it wasn't technically overpriced, but it was still like they just knew it was Jordan and they saw that brand and they were like, okay, yeah. Some of the guys that had the Jordans, they'd always be talking the sneakerhead guys. I was never a sneakerhead. I never could get into it. I don't care about it. I actually thought a lot of those Jordans were actually ugly. But that was the thing. They would always have to have them shoes. They'd always have to have them clothes. You know what I rocked? I rocked some Felines. And the funny thing was my Felines, um, they were like some type of suede material, absolutely horrendous. But because of who I was, because of my ability to rock them things, yes, the dudes used to crack jokes on me, like, because I had the gray felines and whatnot, and they used to shoot the jabs at me and whatnot because they had the Jordans and whatnot. But you know what I was able to do? After a while of them realizing that I felt no type of shame rocking my felines, and I was absolutely the type of dude I was, then it turned into, "Oh, Joe got them felines on, ha ha ha," and then it turned into, "Hey, look at Joe rocking them felines." I'm talking about people, I ain't gonna lie, I would never wear them things today. Them gray suede looking felines, I don't even remember what material it was, but I remember what they look like. If I see an image of them on, Google, let me see if I can Google gray felines from, I think it was like the 2000s. I can't see a direct image of what it was, but I'm telling you right now, I was not exactly happy to have them because I really didn't have no choice. I wore what I was given. A lot of the stuff I had was hand-me-downs. Yeah, I don't even see them on Google. Grayfield. I might have to look them up. But them things, I mean, they got me through. They didn't fall apart, nothing. They got me through. It was what it was. But where is this touch into amusement? Well, people do amusement. Look at the definition. It's for entertainment. You entertain yourself in multiple ways. You entertain yourself with video games. You entertain yourself with doing things you like to do, hobbies. If one of your hobbies is going to the club trying to pick up chicks, that's amusement. I think that's one of the biggest pet peeves of black men today. They're so focused on sexual access and not focused on the things that matter. It's like they know we live in a capitalistic society. They know certain brands have value, therefore that's why they buy the Jordans and stuff, because they think they can buy status without actually achieving a certain recognition or accumulating accomplishments and awards to achieve that status. They'd rather just try to buy it so that they can go out and chase chicks. Well, that's amusement. They're doing something that they find entertaining, which is, I mean, sex is entertaining to some people. We're one of the few species on the planet that has sex for pleasure. That is amusement. Think of how much of the industry, how they, and this also, if I'm gonna couple these with the other ones as well. So before I continue, because I was just about to say something, but I was like, you know what? That actually couples with something else as well, um, which was hope. So if you think of amusement coupled with hope and how some of the richest people we see are celebrities, are athletes, are entertainers, are comedians, all professions within what specific field exactly? Entertainment, amusement. Thus, another unfortunate black um, stereotype, which is too many wanting to be athletes and entertainers instead of trying to be lawyers and doctors. Now, not saying being a lawyer, I know, I know that there are some woes of being a lawyer. You might not necessarily make as much money as you think you would, but it's still very much a needed profession. Law is a very much needed profession because we need to have people that enforce the law. But they're focused on these professions out of the hope that they'll achieve it like their favorite stars or athletes. Some of them don't realize how much actual work it took for them to get there. Some of them. Some of them are like some of the people on the news station. Some of them are just, let's be real, they're coons and bootlegs. They're actually picked for a reason. So they might not necessarily have to, you know, work that as hard as you think they will for their positions. Unless you consider cooning and bootlicking to be a profession that requires a significant amount of work. So, you know, whatever. But for the guys, like this is why I had some respect for athletes because I understood the science of athletics. I mean, I was an exercise science major for God's sake. I was a former student athlete, not college, but high school. I actually got taken out in high school, so a severe shoulder injury. I was done after that. But one of the things is I understood the amount of preparation and everything that took for athletes to achieve their status or how they were able to achieve it. Also, let's just be real, genetics. I mean, if you're 7 feet tall, I mean, let's just be real. I mean, the taller and bigger and stronger you are, the less actual skill you need. So, I mean, it is what it is. Which is why I know most of the young men trying to achieve that level of status into the field or professions they're seeking, and they're just in a constant state of hoping that they'll get there. I can do it. I can potentially do it. Yes, well, I can also potentially win the lottery. Now, let me try to keep this on amusement because I don't want to go too far into the other ones. But like I said, each one, they all intertwine. They all work with one another. Now, one of the things with amusement is the more TV and everything you're digesting, the less you're actually learning and the more susceptible you are to um how can I say it, propaganda or false information. Usually I just call it propaganda. News stations, major news stations are very um they there's a thing called double speak. I'm gonna have to post those videos in here. I think I posted those in the propaganda video that I did, so I might just link the propaganda video in this one because there is that thing called doublespeak and how the politic is used in politics. It's actually based on a book written by a guy. I can't think of his name right now, but there's a thing called doublespeak, and that is pretty much how it relates to lying. And it's like you can imagine you're telling like a white lie, like you're saying something, you know someone will interpret it a certain way, but you know that you want to mislead them. That's essentially kind of like what using certain words that make certain things sound more aggressive than others, or just straight up downplaying or trying to confuse people. That's another thing about propaganda, specifically relating to amusement and how they use it to keep you entertained. I talked about how Gaius Julius Caesar used this when he came into power in Rome. And there were a lot of issues in Rome. And one of the ways he kept the general public at bay while he was, I came, I saw, I conquered, and doing all the stuff he understood people, or at least how to you know benefit from them or utilize them. He understood to some extent the psychology. He also had kept a lot of um, wise people around him, and he took their advice, and he understood how to use amusement in order to keep the general public at bay, keep them from complaining too much. Because remember, it's politics, and he used that to his advantage. To some extent, that goes on a lot here in America. Think of all the news stories and holidays we have. It's like every month there's like 2 or 3 holidays for some reason. So every month, hey, uh, Halloween just passed, and now we're preparing for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving just passed, now we're preparing for Christmas. Christmas just passed, and literally right around the corner is New Year's. And then after that, maybe I can't think of anything in January, but uh, what is it? We got Black History Month coming up, and then of course they don't want to show. They only want to show a specific, Black history. They don't want to show all of that. But yeah, Black History comes up, or something else comes up. Every month there's something new, some new amusement, something to keep you busy, something for you to spend your money. Because remember, the economy revolves around giving you reasons to spend your money. Um, and spend your money on these things that we find amusing. That's where all this relates. Think of most of the products we're buying. They're mostly for amusements. We have our water, we have our food, we have our shelter. What's next? Okay, things we can put in our shelters. Uh, Heated flooring. Um, in addition to that, the type of vehicle. Yes, we can get from point A to B using a fucking horse. There was a guy in my hood who rode a damn horse. I don't know where the fuck he got it, where he kept it, but he had a horse, and he'd be riding around the hood in his horse. But a lot of people want those luxury vehicles. They want those vehicles that, in addition to them being amusing, they also kind of try to give them a bit of that status. But a lot of stuff is mainly, most of it's amusement, most of it, because we don't necessarily need it. We say we need it. I mean, and today to be competitive, there are some things that become standard, like vehicles. They're very useful, but you can get around without vehicles. It makes it more complicated, but it's possible. Additionally, email, phones, very much necessary, needed today. Especially if you're in the business industry, you're going to need your devices with you. You need to be on call. So some of these things that were initially amusement, they're meant to be amusing, which they still are. 'Cause you can play games on your phones and whatnot. You be doing all that late night conversation and sexting and whatnot. Okay, getting all your little deviancies out, right? But that's amusement. I mean, they might be necessary now, standards now, but they were just amusements. That's what they were. That's how they started. So, touching back on what cash is. Remember, cash is it pretty much stands for the conflict, amusement, status, hope, and how all of these are used within the capitalistic society we live in to keep the general majority of the population, to keep them at bay so that the elite can thrive. So that's just to touch on what with all this, how all this comes back, okay? And how it all comes together. All these things are used to keep you in a constant state. And just think about it, like, constant state of conflict, constant state of trying to amuse yourself with stuff, and then achieving status, and then the hope that you can achieve a certain status or overcome whatever issues or whatever it is in your life. And then you can buy all the things you want in life. And then, each one just it's like a never-ending cycle. They always go back and forth. And it just keeps you like, hey, I'm gonna get there. And then but if you're one of those people where you just kind of stop and think, you're like, do I really need this? Or you kind of just realize, okay, some of this stuff is kind of dumb. I don't really celebrate holidays like that. I just don't. I'm not too much into holidays just because, well, one, um, when it relates to my family history and everything like that, there is the part of culture where it is good for bonding. That much I will say. So certain holidays, they're good for bonding. I'll I'll do that. But I don't just celebrate holidays just to celebrate them, just to look for a reason to amuse myself and to try to look good by buying other people's stuff that I know that they can't afford or something like that, and then going into debt for it. You know, amusement status. No, I don't do that. So I will do my daughter's birthday and stuff like that, and I'll do some of the events where, you know, maybe I'll take and most of this is with my daughter, to be honest, just to kind of let her have some fun. But at the same time, I will educate her on things, and I'll let her know, like, hey, Halloween can be fun while you're a kid, but let's just be real, it's not necessary. A lot of the time, Halloween is just so ladies can go out there and dress as sexually provocative as they want to. She wants to wear that cat outfit, but the cat outfit is pretty much a set of lingerie with a pair of ears and a tail. Ladies, fellas, you know better. But ladies, come on. Amusement. If they're, I mean, come on. And I know some of you have seen that. I know some of you understand exactly where I'm coming from. And look, yeah, they give the excuse it's Halloween, but come on now. I know what this
I'm not that
is.
big of a fool, and I'm not gonna deny it.
Like, come on now. But let me see if there's anything else. So, talking about amusement. Now, amusement and hope. I did talk about that, how people want to be, rappers and stuff like that. Amusement and status. Talk about how a lot of the amusing things we buy is for status. iPhone users, God, I will never own Apple products in my life. Never have. Just like Jordans, never have. Never will, most likely. Unless I buy the Jordan brand, then I will never um, own either of them because I just, unless they come out with something significantly above the rest. But to be honest, Apple products are not the best. Um, it's a good way of going broke. I will say that, but it's a good way of doing that. But outside of that, no, nah. I mean, fucking Samsung makes their screens. Like, come on, people. Um, but yeah, all of this, the cash that I talk about, is just to make the system keep going. It's just to make it so those artists that I talked about, where people are hoping that they become a rapper or something like that. Those artists are chosen. They're chosen. They're picked specifically for a reason. A record label or something like that. They pick them. There's whatever music artist because there's a fairly good amount of good artists out there that most people aren't aware of. Me, myself, I don't listen to the radio. I haven't listened to the radio in years for that reason, because I know a lot of the good music, a lot of the music promoted on radio is promoted for a reason. You know, the 6ix9ines and the what is it, the little little perps and all these little dumbass little rap fucks that oh Jesus Christ, man. It's like but they're trying to perpetuate a certain type of lifestyle and they're trying to capitalize off of it at the same time. So I get what they're doing, but at the same time, let's just be real. They're put in place for a reason. There is a hierarchy, and that's why most of them go broke anyway after they're no longer useful. If you think about it, like those athletes, I think it's like what 60% of them or something like that. Afterwards, they go broke. It's because they were picked for a reason. They knew they weren't a threat to the establishment. They probably would have never achieved elite status. A very, very, I mean, I can't even say any of them did, but a very few of them can even get close to, say, achieving that status. A couple of them that maybe people say in the Black community is like Oprah and Tyler Perry and Jay-Z, but even they are limited. They're not on par with Elon Musk or Bill Gates. They can't just do whatever they want to do. And to be honest, when they try, the establishment will often shoot them down or prevent them from doing it. You know, I think Jay-Z was talking about something with the Brooklyn Nets or something, ownership, and he was pretty much barred from really having any significant ownership there. Same with Oprah and her network. They're like, yeah, stay on that BS, Oprah. We ain't letting you do nothing else, pretty much. I mean, can you imagine that a billionaire and who's prevented from doing things that other billionaires do? That's crazy. But that's what happens. But it's because I understand the system as it is, and I understand that they were picked and chosen for what they were picked and chosen for, which was for the establishment, amusement, to amuse the general population, to misinform them, and to be honest, not to be a threat. I mean, who is Oprah threatening? Who is Tyler Perry threatening? Who is Jay-Z threatening? They're not, but they did their jobs well. All of them in entertainment, all of them to amuse us. And to some extent, some people might even look towards them as figures to follow. You know, they look up to a Jay-Z or Oprah or Tyler Perry. Therefore, when they say something stupid or dumb, they take it. And that might be for a reason. So amusement. This was the second of the cash. I hope I made sense of it, and I hope I helped you understand that we amuse ourselves with everything. Everybody who lives in this society, you amuse yourself one way or another with something. That's a part of living. You don't just want to survive. I want to live. Let's just be real. The car you drive, the food you eat, the books you read, the movies you watch, the music you listen to. It's all forms of amusement. The problem comes where you put amusement before development or before work or before your purpose or before building. When you're running around trying to buy the next pair of Jordans instead of running around trying to figure out how you're going to increase your income, how you're going to employ people, what niche or what market you're going to carve out for yourself. The amusement's supposed to, it's supposed to keep you going. You're supposed to enjoy life. Yes, I do agree to that. You can enjoy life, but it's not supposed to impede your progress. So I hope that made sense to you. And thank you for watching. And as always, get to it out there now.
Don't let me down, man. If you let me down, I don't know what I'd do.
Don't let me down, people. So till next time.
お前はもう